What's going on, everybody out there? I'm Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. So let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Next week we have the big Nintendo Switch presentation that's happening both on Twitch and also in the New York City store up over in Times Square. There's going to be a lot of news about Nintendo's next platform that's going to be dropping, and everybody's really excited about it. Mainly because we don't really know a lot about the Nintendo Switch other than what Nintendo has revealed to us in the last few trailers that they've put out. But what is going to go down over there? I have some predictions of some basic stuff that we could probably expect for when we actually start getting news and the big blowout of information that's going to populate the internet pretty much for like a good couple days when it goes down. So what is the first things that I think I'm going to do? Here are my predictions for the Nintendo Switch event next week. Basically, obviously, it's already been confirmed that we're going to get a release window and we're also going to get a price for the console itself. But I don't think necessarily this is going to be a bundle. I think we're going to get a price point specifically for the console itself. This is very similar to when the Wii U first came out, that we only just had the core console itself. We had two different SKUs, but it was just of the console itself and no bundled game along with it. This means that, again, you'll have to buy a separate game afterwards during the course of like the launch week. So if you want to play anything like, again, like Zelda or whatever other launch titles are going to come out for the game console, you're going to have to buy it separately like that. I wish, though, and if we're being totally honest, I wish that it would actually be bundled with something like Breath of the Wild, because I feel like it would get a lot more buzz and a lot more people excited that it's a big Nintendo first-party title with Nintendo's brand new console. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. We're just going to get about a $299 price point, which seems reasonable enough, at least if the rumors are to be believed, for the console itself. What I am hoping for, and what I really think might actually go down, is that we won't get multiple SKUs of the console. We're not going to get alternate versions, kind of like what we had with the Wii U, where we had the white version and we had the black version. The black version having the bigger hard drive space, or the bigger memory space, than the original that was released. The white skewed console at the time for the Wii U had a lot less, and that was like, again, one of the reasons why they phased that out, and now we just have the black skewed Wii U. I don't think this is going to happen for the Nintendo Switch. I think there's going to be one SKU, and whatever the specs and whatever the memory storage is going to be, that's going to be it for the console, besides whatever extra stuff you could buy later on or alongside of it during the time when you actually get it on release. Again, that goes alongside with the games. But now let's talk about the games themselves. What launch titles can we expect? What are the games that Nintendo is going to talk about when they finally reveal all the details, or at least a good number of details about the console itself, besides its release date and price point? I fully expect we're going to hear more about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I really believe that is probably going to be a launch title for the Nintendo Switch. I've said it a couple times on different podcasts and editorials and discussions I've had with people that seems like the most complete game of all the games that Nintendo is going to mention since they've shown their trailer. I remember seeing it back at E3 that last year now, I have to say, where I got hands-on time with it, and it felt like the most complete, even though it was still, again, really like not knee-deep in development. But that seems like the game that's the most moved far along compared to all the other stuff that they've shown in that Nintendo Switch trailer that we got a while back. I don't think we're going to get the new Mario at launch, even though that would be an amazing feat for Nintendo to do, especially if that got bundled in with it. But I don't think that game has moved far along in development. I still think there's a lot of time before we actually get that game in our hands. In addition to that, all the other third-party titles that they showed during the course of that Nintendo Switch trailer, I don't think they're far along in development, even though most of those I feel like are going to be ports. Skyrim, the NBA game that they had on there, some people have been talking about Dark Souls 3 being playable on the Nintendo Switch, and while it would be amazing to have those games where you could play them on the go, again, a console-quality game, literally in every sense of the word, on the go like that, would be awesome, but I don't think those are going to be ready to go at launch. What I do think, though, is that we're going to get a lot of Nintendo first-party titles that are going to be ports from the Wii U over to the Nintendo Switch. There's been a lot of talk about Super Smash Bros. For Wii U getting ported over to the Switch and having all the DLC. That sounds great, and it sounds like the most ideal solution there to add more game titles to the launch of the console. But I also feel like there's going to be other games that maybe a lot of people haven't really talked about or haven't really thought about at this point that could get ported over from the Wii U because either they didn't have that great of a launch, or maybe there was a lot of bad publicity and such, or maybe there was something about that game on the Nintendo Wii U that could work wonders for on the Nintendo Switch, again, either by adding or removing features. Two games that come into mind that are Nintendo first parties is Pokken Tournament and also Star Fox Zero. Pokken Tournament specifically is because we have so many extra content, so many extra characters that are in the arcade version of that game that we just did not get on the home console version for the Wii U. I don't think Nintendo's going to put so much emphasis on adding extra characters or really putting out so much effort into adding extra content to the arcade version of the game and not make it available for people that really want it on home consoles. I feel like this would be kind of cool to have on the Nintendo Switch. Again, maybe not as a launch title around that time frame, maybe it's sometime after launch, but a good addition to the actual console's library. Again, it's not a new Nintendo property, it's not a new Nintendo game for a new Nintendo console, but it's something added more to the console's library. The same can be said for Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero had a very bad rap on the Nintendo Wii U, mainly because of the gyroscope controls. It was one of my biggest criticisms when I played and reviewed the game for the Koalition.com, as well as also a bunch of friends of mine that saw the game with me when we were at E3. It was our biggest criticism of that game, and I feel like if Nintendo was smart enough to really, again, if they cared enough about the Star Fox property, despite the poor sales of Star Fox Zero, they would port that over to the Nintendo Switch and finally give us the game that we all really wanted. No gyroscope controls, all that extra phenomenal music, all that great gameplay that we get that's reminiscent of Star Fox 64 and the remakes that followed afterwards. All that stuff on the Nintendo Switch and no gimmicks like that, people would have a much better perception of this game. At least I would hope so anyway. Now, finally, let's talk about third-party stuff besides that. I really think that we're going to get a good amount of third-party support, more so than what we did on the Nintendo Wii U. I feel like there's a lot more positive buzz about the Nintendo Switch with a lot of developers. You're starting to see little quotes here and there come out from various different places. I do think that we're going to get some new IPs here and there that will be very interesting from some developers that we just haven't heard about yet, which would be very, very cool. A lot of the different stuff that people want to see, again, they want to see something like I mentioned before, Dark Souls 3 on the Nintendo Switch. There's been a lot of talk about that here and there and some rumors. There's been a lot of talk about Skyrim, what we saw in the trailer and such. There was an NBA game on there. Obviously, the Nintendo first parties with Splatoon and stuff. I think that we're going to get those types of experiences, but not at the launch of the console. I feel like maybe months down the line, maybe into the holiday season of this year, into next year, is when we'll start to see things like that for the Nintendo Switch. But with that being said, though, what other games do I personally want to see on the console? Again, there's been some confirmations here or there about stuff like Persona 5 not coming to the Nintendo Switch. There's been other things, again, germinating here and there about Kingdom Hearts as well as also Final Fantasy. I would love to see those types of games on there, but again, I don't think that's going to be within the first 6 or 7 months of the console's launch. And also, on top of that, I feel like we're going to really want to see some really quality first-party experiences from Nintendo themselves that not only show off the capabilities of the console, but really show a better mentality that Nintendo is at than what they had with the Wii U. A lot of people for the longest time have wanted Metroid, a brand new Metroid title that wasn't the gimmick, or at least wasn't in the same vein of what we got with Metroid Other M or Metroid Prime Federation Force. We want a real Metroid title. There's been some rumors here and there about a 2.5D Metroid game that's been circulating around. I don't believe that they're necessarily true, but I do think Nintendo has been listening to their fans and just been real quiet about it. I think that we're going to get a new Metroid game down the line. It sounds like it'd be very awesome. They've been hearing us loud and clear. We've been bugging them for the longest time. They'd be very foolish not to capitalize on it. But either way, guys, those are just some of my opinions and my predictions for what we're going to hear about the Nintendo Switch next week during the Nintendo Switch event, both in the Tokyo stream or the Japan stream, as well as also the Nintendo Worlds event, or at least, some of the news that's going to come out of that store in Times Square. Leave me a comment down below on what you guys think, what we're going to hear about the Nintendo Switch, some of your own personal predictions, whether you agree or disagree with any of the stuff that I've talked about here in this vlog. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the Gamers with Gains channel for all my videos related to gaming, stronger living, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, a whole bunch of different stuff. And don't forget to check out my live stream every single day on Twitch TV. There's links in the description box below, guys. I really encourage you to come check out some of my streams. I play a variety of different games. I've been playing a lot of Pokken Tournament. We killed the Animantoise, the hardest boss fight in Final Fantasy 15 live on stream, and it was a lot of fun. And I play a variety of other different games, Street Fighter 5, and a couple other little goodies here and there. Got some big plans for the Twitch stream coming in 2017. I will talk to all of you guys again real soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.